Welcome to Purple Moments, where inspiring journeys take center stage. Today, we are honored to have Vineet Saraiwala with us, who's the founder of Atypical Advantage and Atypical Academy, TEDx speaker and national award winner. When Vineet began losing his sight at just 16, he chose to focus on vision, not disability. Today, he is empowering thousands by creating dignified livelihoods and proving that capability knows no bounds. Vineet, welcome to Purple Moments. Happy to have you here with us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor.
So, you were just 16 years old when you lost your eyesight. Take us back to that moment when you first came to know that, this is your diagnosis and this is a life-changing moment for you. How did you feel?
Yeah, when I was 4 years old, I was wearing spectacles because teachers told that, this guy cannot see the blackboard. And I was diagnosed with this condition called retinitis pigmentosa at 16. It's a degenerative condition in which sight keeps on going down as age progresses. So doctors told me that you will have this condition and ultimately your sight would reduce. And at that point I could play cricket, watch football and films on TV and was living a fairly independent life. But when doctors told me, I would not say it was shattering because I would still say I was a child, and sometimes you are not prepared for the worst. When someone says that you lose your entire sight during your lifetime, you don't digest the magnitude of that moment because at that point you could see. But when it started deteriorating, when I could not probably write my own exams or watch things on TV, those were the times it started hitting, like probably not having the sight to see right now you or my parents or the food in front of you and comparing it to your earlier life. I always say that my condition is technically an intersection between reality and illusion because I can mix a lot of my past memory with my current frame of mind and create images of whatever I want to perceive. So I would not say that it was shattering in the beginning, but it started going worse, and then I realized that hey, the doctor actually told the truth.
Since this condition is genetic, is there anyone else in your family also that has it?
So my brother also has the same condition. So my parents, it was a shock for them. Two brothers and the only brothers having this condition. There is no one in our family on the mother's side and the father's side having any condition related to eye. So it's very strange. We in fact traced our lineage till 3 generations back, but could not find people having eye issues. So it was difficult for my mother and father in the beginning. For example, my mother and father don't have rice. They have taken a vow that till the time sight of both our sons come back in a temple. They are very spiritual as such. We are not probably as such. So it was devastating for them, but now they are used to it.
So, when your eyesight slowly faded away, what was the hardest part for you to cope? Now you've told us about your family, and your parents and how devastated they were. But when you were actually losing your sight, what was the hardest part for you?
I would say acceptance of my condition. There were moments for me where I could fake my disability. For example, if someone would say that, hey, can you see the stars? I would lie to them because I was ashamed about my condition. Even during family functions or events in school or college, I used to probably lie to myself because I was not willing to accept my eye condition. I remember a funny experiment in the chemistry lab when I was having like the test tube and the Bunsen burner was there, and the test tube was not heating up because I was not holding it against the Bunsen burner. And it was funny for me. At that point I was laughing at it, but these kind of moments, when I cherish it back, it I feel very low. So and I also think that some of these moments I've experienced with sight, and now no longer being able to see those moments again, it's sad. But acceptance came quite acceptance, I would say, still took me more than 14 years.
I'm sure there were moments when life felt very uncertain. What gave you strength to keep moving forward?
I was always good in education, always topping the class, top 3, top 5 rankers in school, in college, and then again cracked common aptitude test and joined one of the best management institutes in India. Uh, so I also was luckily never differentiated uh, because of my disability, be it placements or access to opportunities. I was lucky to find great teachers who always supported me despite my challenges, and I made technology my friend. So I use a screen reader, text to speech software for doing pretty much everything, computers or smartphone. So no regrets. Low moments are not there, but see, sight is something which you can feel bad any moment. Right now also I can't see anybody and I can feel bad about it. This is something which you can't uh, do much about it. So my mantra is always to focus on what is in my control, no matter the circumstances, no matter whatever sight is lost. You have no other options in life but only to stay optimistic and be in gratitude for whatever you have.
Can you take us through a typical day in your life? And is there anyone you depend on for activities that you need to do during the day?
Okay, this is a great question. Uh, so, for me, there is assistance, but largely, by the way, I travel across the country alone as well as internationally alone. There is no one there to assist me, both India and internationally, because travel, a lot of accessibility is there, and because I've been doing this for the past 15-20 years, I have become more confident about traveling to rural areas, urban areas because of my work. But and I've never found a single person who did not help me or left me unattended. Whenever I go through airport, railway stations across each state of our country, I've always found good people to assist me. So traveling, I'm largely independent. On the house, though I have learnt cooking minimum, there are people to help me out with cooking. But on my work front, my computer and smartphone are fully accessible. So whatever anybody uses their smartphone or computer to do, I pretty much do everything as such. But I'm not good in cooking and cleaning. But yeah, other than that, my day typically starts at 6:30 a.m. And having a walk at the beach, and then breakfast, and then it's probably 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Almost continuous work with only a 15-minute break. And I've been doing this for the past 6 years from the time I started my own startup. So it's hectic. First 2 years of my startup, it was probably work during the weekends also, but nowadays I try to probably not work during the weekend. So that's my usual day, and I use screen readers for navigating computer and smartphones.
So you turned your own experience into an opportunity for others. What inspired you to start Atypical Advantage?
I had graduated from IIM Bangalore, worked 6 years in the corporate space across marketing, strategy, category management, pretty much every function within a corporate space. And then one of my mentors told me, look Vineet, you are blind, you are from a good business school, and you have the corporate exposure. If you don't solve for people with disability, no one else would. And I still remember these lines, that it's not about you or me, but India will forever lose an opportunity to help people with disabilities at scale. And I thought that this makes sense. For me, I also had the safety net, be it in terms of family or a IIM degree, because I always knew that I could figure out a job no if this does not work. I feel that people who have safety net in their lives, be it family or a good college and the right kind of exposure, should delve in social entrepreneurship. So that is how I started working for people with disabilities. But in my corporate space also, I had generated employment for 500 plus people with disabilities in retail. I'd launched shopping assistance for people with disabilities across 200 plus stores, made a lot of stores accessible with accessible trial room and washroom. And this was not part of my core role at the retail firm where I was working with, but that gave me a very good understanding about people with disabilities. I was blind myself, so I understood the blind perspective, but when we employed 500 plus people with hearing disabilities, I also understood their perspective. Similarly, when I was working in creating accessibility across our stores, I understood people with locomotor disability, and moreover I also launched something called Quiet Hour for 15,000 people on the autism spectrum. So I actually thought to myself that I would be probably the very few in the country who would have that kind of exposure across disability, and if I, probably being a person with disability, don't understand others, then no one else would. So that is how the transition from the corporate space happened, and luckily things worked out for me, and it's now 5.5 years of building Atypical advantage and creating livelihood opportunities.
And not only that, you've also started Atypical Academy. What change do you want to see through it?
The Atypical Advantage is a livelihood platform which tries to generate jobs for people with disabilities. We also work with freelancer artists and performers in the country, trying to sell their artwork and provide them shows as a singer, because you would have read that there are so many amazing performers and artists with disability across the country. But the sad reality of our country is education has a big gap. When you see people with disabilities, 85% of people with disabilities don't go to school. So even if the talent and if the talent itself is not there, I'll never be able to provide dignified opportunities for people with disabilities. So when we started working in the livelihood space, we realized that education is a big gap, skills is a big gap. So we continuously try to upskill people with disabilities so that they are productive within any company. We never tell companies to hire people with disability just because they are disabled. We always tell companies that they'll bring value to your organization and in fact measure productivity. With Atypical Academy, we are going one step back to actually take an entire life cycle approach from education to skilling to ultimately jobs. For example, we recently launched a written English course for deaf people, and this course is not even available globally. Even if you Google a written English course, you will hardly find any options. But even if deaf person knows sign language, corporates expect written English skills for a deaf person. When you look at a deaf school or any special school, they don't teach written English communication, and their written English communication in our country for deaf people is very weak. And we thought to ourselves that this is such a massive opportunity and needs to be done for our country. With captions, deaf people can be integrated in mainstream workforce. Currently, if you look at, deaf people are largely employed in retail, warehouse and entry level positions. I want to flip the script and say people with hearing disabilities can become the CXOs of large companies, and that is why we are starting with English, because that's where they can learn English and upgrade their lives. So we keep on doing such kind of initiatives. For example, even the Prime Minister of the country recently inaugurated the first semiconductor plant in Sanand in Ahmedabad, where 6 people with hearing disabilities were employed in technical roles. So you can understand the shift. They are now making semiconductors to trucks, to defense vehicles, to FMCG products. So we always see people with disabilities to reach the very top.
What does this impact that you're making through Atypical Advantage really mean to you?
I've actually thought a lot about this word called impact. If you look at impact from a definition point of view, when 2 planets collide, impact happens. So technically, I also feel that not everybody gets an opportunity to do impact, because I don't have a better word than this. But right now, when you look at it, like initially I used to feel very proud about my work, because lot of parents used to call us, lot of candidates used to thank us for a job, lot of artists and performers when they used to get opportunities. But right now I feel that some of that creates a very false sense of ego as such, because we are an instrument of service, and in fact my team also feel the same thing about our work, that getting to do this kind of work itself is an opportunity. So we are just grateful that we are able to do such kind of work, and we don't want to have any egos about our work, or neither feel happy or sad about it. So we just try to do whatever in our personal capacity we can do to help people with disabilities in our own ways, not because the society wants us to do, or not because people with disabilities want to do. We are purely doing this work because we like to do this work.
You have received many awards, including 2 national awards. So can you tell us what these awards mean to you, and especially some award that you have received which is very important, and why?
For me, receiving the best placement organization by the Honorable President of India was very meaningful, especially because my parents felt very happy when they were there in Vigyan Bhavan. Lot of these awards motivate us to do much more for the community, but I feel that when my parents are happy, it makes me proud as such. So for me, that is more important than myself and my team. My parents don't understand the work which I do, but when they see me on the big screen receiving this honor, they now have understood probably that this person is doing something exceptional. So that is what it means to me. And because I am from IIM Bangalore, I also received the Distinguished Alumni Awardee, and I was the youngest participant there. Most of the people would receive this when they are 50 plus. I received this when I was 35, just last year, and that made me really happy, because just 10 years before you were studying in the college, and to receive this honor from your own alma mater. So that was a very proud moment.
We often see the awards and not the struggle behind the awards. And you've achieved so many awards, but just tell us few toughest moments that you have faced in achieving this success.
For me, losing my eyesight is still a struggle. For example, when I was building my company, there were a lot of inaccessibility in tools, banking applications, or navigating things while setting up the business itself. So I would say that was a struggle. Second, again, initially funding is a big struggle. First 2 years I did not withdraw any salary, was working from my home, so that because at home you don't need to pay your parents spend, and I wanted to save every penny. That was a struggle, like the first 2 years of setting up Atypical Advantage. A third, I would say that just learning to navigate life, building the confidence learning how to use technology uh, was a struggle, but now I've learned it. But majorly every time, for me, what pinches me is losing eyesight and comparing your past life to your current life, and it's very hard, and you can feel bad and low every moment of your life, no matter whatever impact and whatever award I receive. Losing eyesight is not easy, and I'm still trying to navigate and be grateful.
You pitched Atypical Advantage on Shark Tank India. What was going through your mind when you were standing in front of those business sharks?
Oh, to be very honest, I was very clear. I had gone to pitch the cause of disability inclusion in the country in national prime time, because I realized lot of audience watches it, and I also wanted to be as strong on TV than usually I am. I am emotional, but you would have seen on the big screen there was not even a tinge of emotion, because usually with reality TV shows like Shark Tank and so many others, when a person with disability goes, they make it about emotions, sympathy, and only their struggles, where the real hard work and merit as an individual gets lost out. That is why my initial introduction on Shark Tank was very clear, that look, I have done so many of these things and judge me for my merit. And I was so happy that my pitch received like a standing ovation, and this line Nazar or Nazariya became so famous across the country. My core message was to build disability inclusion at the center, and I also wanted dignity for people with disabilities and every human being. I don't want anybody to be treated as more human, which is people with disabilities have sixth sense, bechara. I want people with disabilities to be treated with dignity, neither like more humans, that people with disabilities are extraordinary, have sixth sense, special powers, or less human like bechara, they cannot do anything, or with sympathy. I want people with disabilities to be treated like anybody else, the same way, neither more, neither less, just like any other human being.
Talking about merit, where do you see Atypical Advantage and Academy in the next 10 years?
As I already told you, I would like to shut down this platform in the next 10 years. If I exist, then it is a fault of the system and ours. I don't believe in continuing the platform, because one day, if physical infrastructure and digital infra is equal, education is inclusive, then you don't need special schools or special platforms like ours. Having said that, my vision is to generate opportunities for as many people with disabilities in the country. In fact, I've taken a personal mandate of more than 1 million people with disabilities. If I am dedicating my time towards this cause, anything less than this would be a disservice to me as an individual. Parallelly, I also want to improve the entire education system for people with disabilities in the country. So in the next 10 years, I want to improve the education, skilling and livelihood outcome, so that every person with disability is able to get jobs on merit and become CXOs and leaders of India.
Now, if there are people who want to learn and work, and want to be part of this journey, how can they know about Atypical Advantage and Atypical Academy and also join that?
So they can simply visit our website www.atypicaladvantage.in, www.atypicalacademy.in. So these are our websites. People can contact us through the website and also sign up if they are looking for jobs.
You have participated in tandem cycling, surfing, trekking, running. I mean, what has these experiences taught you and what made you do it?
I'll first come to what made me do this. A lot of times when you have certain disability or you are challenged in some ways, you always try to prove to the world that look, you are normal. In fact, this word is exclusionary in the truest sense, because everybody is not normal by that sense. So when I was young, I always wanted to run fast. So whenever I used to run, even as a person with visual disability, I wanted to run fast and prove to the world that hey, look, I am blind, but I can run or cycle or study in one of the best colleges in the country. And same way, when I used to trek, it was difficult, but I felt that it was largely starting because I wanted to prove to the world. But now I've stopped caring about proving to the world and just listening to my own inner voice. So I've done a lot of fun in the past, but sometimes there is, I would actually say, I remember when I was trekking Harishchandra Garh, which is a moderately difficult trek, and I could have lost my life. So it was a 90-degree rock climb. My friends were telling me from the up that hey, go left, go right, and I was all on my hands and legs near the rock listening instructions to my friend. And I realized when I read newspapers that a lot of people have died during that trek. So sometimes in the act of proving to the world, you do some of these foolish things. So trekking was great for me, but now I always encourage everybody to be safe and always prioritize themselves. Running and cycling I've done like in extremes, like I've done Manali to Ladakh on a tandem bike with the head of Southern Command of Indian Army. I've ran 9 half marathons, including one in Ladakh. So a lot of them were in endurance. Right now I'm trying to build atypical advantage, so no hobbies, no interest beyond building atypical advantage, but I've done a lot of fun either ways. But that was in the spirit of being competitive and just to prove to the world that look, you can do all of these things despite your condition.
What would you tell any young person watching who has been diagnosed or is going through some life-changing diagnosis?
So I would like to say 3 things to any youngster in our country, be it a person with disability or without disability. One, there is no shortcut to success other than hard work. It's true, you need to be there every moment, burning the midnight oil and spending those number of hours to reach the stage of excellence. Don't shy away from hard work. Second, if you have a disability, focus on what you can control. What is your strength? For example, I will choose my battles wisely. I will never choose a shooting competition because I know I'll never be able to win a shooting competition because I can't see the target. So you should try to play to your strengths despite your limitations. So understand your limitations and pick those careers or options in life which can play to your strength and where your disability is minimized to whatever extent possible. And the third is embrace technology or assistive tools. I have only been able to live my life because of technology. I was a big tech geek and trying to explore different things despite my blindness. That is how I learned how to use smartphone and computers. If you make technology your friend, I know challenges would be there, but you can still overcome it through technology. And now with artificial intelligence, I think the gap is still reducing. So let's use artificial intelligence and technology to our advantage. So these are my rules for living life well.
Thank you so much, Vineet. It has been so inspiring talking to you and, getting to know you better. I'm sure the audience also enjoyed knowing everything that you had to share today. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you for inviting me again. It was an honor to be here.
Vineet's journey reminds us that when we replace sympathy with opportunity, lives can truly be transformed. We wish Vineet and the entire Atypical Advantage and Academy team continued success as they keep breaking barriers and empowering lives. To everyone watching, thank you for joining us on Purple Moments. We hope this story inspires you to look beyond limitations, believe in human potential, and help build a more inclusive world.